Hey everyone, welcome back to Erovenus Lounge, the podcast where we diving into all things intimacy, pleasure, and self-discovery. I'm your host, Catherine. We're bringing you, our listeners, into the conversation and someone special joining us. And on the line, we got, hey, welcome to Erovenus Lounge.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Thank you. So it's a very special episode today, and we just want to know a little bit about like how you started discover this and your journey through like using such products. So my first question for you is like when many people start like googling such things online and they just type in like sex dolls, sex torsos, and like how did you came across professional websites or just manufacturers who sell sex dolls, and what made you like decide to purchase the first one?
Okay. I have a very, very long history with this kind of stuff. Not specifically sex dolls and sex doll torsos, but masturbators, male sex toys. And this goes all the way back 2003. I don't think it'd be a problem dropping this name, but Fleshlight, everybody knows Fleshlight. They were running some web ads on a couple of pornography websites. It was like silly advertisements at the start. And I thought, I'd click this. What is this nonsense? Right. It's another one of these dodgy companies. But it was actually those guys. I clicked through and I saw their products and they looked like very interesting. Like I'd never seen anything like that before, and I thought, okay, I'll take the plunge. I will order a few. And then I ordered a few of those, and they turned up. And then, yeah, they were fantastic. But a lot of guys will relate to this, right? The same when you discover masturbation, at least it is for me, and talking about this with a lot of other guys online, is that you have an overbearing sense of guilt. I remember way back to when I first discovered masturbation, it was like, oh my God, this is like too good. Like this is not right. This is this is not okay. This I can't be doing this all the time. This can be a bad thing. It was almost like drugs. It's like you've discovered something and it feels so good.
Yeah.
It's a short burst and it's yeah. So I mean, as a boy, you say to yourself, "Oh, I'm going to quit masturbation. I'm not going to masturbate." And that lasts for a few days, and then you go back again and again, and then you just forget about it in the end, right? And it was the same with
Mhm.
the flashlights. The flashlights turned up, and they were fantastic. It just like took masturbation to a whole new level. And then I got the guilt after a couple of uses, and strong guilt, like way worse than before. So I threw them away, and it was like it wasn't cheap. So I just
Mhm.
threw them away. But then, of course, a few months later, I order some more, and they turn up. Then I keep those for a little bit longer, and the cycle continues. But no, way back when I was quite an avid customer of Fleshlight, I was quite active on their forums,
Mhm.
posting content, videos, and discussion about potential products, what they could come out with. And I've always been, obviously being like a horny teenager, right? I've always been a fan of like big boobs, right? And I
Mhm.
said to them on the forums, I said, like, what if you'd made a set of boobs in this material, right? It'd be
Mhm.
fantastic, because I've been watching pornography and I watch these big boobs bouncing around. And as a guy, it's, oh, boobies. I can't go and squeeze boobies because, that would be sexual assault on somebody. So please, like, design a product which has boobs, please. But no, because they like launched into like massive success, they were only concentrating on their core product, which was the fleshlights, and they made variations on those, which I got bored of
Mhm.
pretty quickly. I've always had one. I've always had one or two fleshlights lying around, but I see these
Mhm.
guys online with massive collections of them. I'm thinking like, dude, they feel the same after like. They mainly feel the same in most regards, and it's like you're spending
Mhm.
like $70 each, and you've got dozens of them. It's like all that money. It could go towards a proper torso.
Mhm.
But no, it wasn't until like maybe 4 or 5 years ago when it kicked
Mhm.
off with the torsos, where yeah, I was online again and I see an advert for like these products. I click through to their website and I see these torsos and I'm thinking, oh my word, like these are so sexy. When it comes to my pornographic preferences, I also like to read adult manga. The Japanese, like I just spoke about earlier. I'm big into Japanese culture and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So yeah, I've always been into like anime and manga, but
Mhm.
when I first got online as a young guy, yeah, I go looking, I discover things like adult mangas, which I didn't know existed. And like, you read through, and like it's very erotic, and it's very sexual, and it's a new form of pornography, and it was very fascinating to me. But
Mhm.
these torsos that I was looking at online, it was as if they were modeled from characters within like these Japanese manga with like the big like cartoon boobs and the big bottoms and stuff.
Mhm.
And I'm thinking like that is really sexy, right? That is so sexy.
Yeah, they
Um,
are.
and I said to my wife, I said, "Look, can I please get one of these?" It's like $350, and she's like, "Nope, hard no." Right? Okay. It's like, oh well, I'll keep trying. And like, I keep coming back to this website and I keep looking at it and thinking, why? And like they go up to like hundreds of dollars, like these big ones, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I
Mhm.
can't bear this anymore. I need one of these things. So I just broke one day, right? I didn't tell the wife. And I ordered one of the beginner ones, right? Which is still quite big.
Mhm.
I think like 20, 21, 25 kilos. So I order it and
Mhm.
then the email comes through. And then I get a phone call off of her, like super angry, say, you have to send that back. I'm not having that in this house. And I'm thinking, oh my God, like I'm in trouble. But I try and cancel the order and it's too late to cancel. So I'm definitely getting it. It's definitely turning up. So I'm like, yes. Even though I tried to cancel, it's still coming. But yeah, it turned up. By that point, she'd like kind of resigned to the fact
Mhm.
that I was getting one of these things. I was explaining to her, it's just like a big fleshlight, it's nothing more than that.
Yeah.
But it turned up, and then she was fascinated by it. We do the unboxing, and then she has a squeeze, and, and I was blown away at the time. I'd never seen anything like it. The first couple of times we actually used it as part of our sex. It wasn't just me on my own, but we were having
Mhm.
sex, and I wanted to squeeze boobies right at the same time because my
Mhm.
wife, bless her, and we joke about this all the time. Like she doesn't have big boobs. In fact, she barely has boobs at all, right? I've always like teased her about this. It's quite funny. That's how it worked. Like we brought that in, and I started using it by myself.
Sounds like a new continent discovered by you. And we will make sure, like, when we post this video or podcast, like, we will hide this post from wife. No worries that she will be blocked.
Oh yeah. No, she's fine. She actually wanted to come up and listen in, but she'll have to listen to the recording afterwards. No, it's all good
Yes.
on this sexual adventure. She's not super shy, so you don't have to worry about excluding discussions about her or talking about
Mhm.
her nipples or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm very glad that your wife just goes from rejection to somewhat kind of like accepting this kind of like getting along, you know?
Nobody is more grateful than I am. Believe me. It turned up and then I still had to throw it away, especially after squeezing boobies for the first time ever. And she's like, "Okay, now you can go. Then now you can throw it away." And I'm like, "Nope, no way. It's not going anywhere."
Because you guys are just including this sex store together, and do you think having this plus one is somewhat like elevating your romance relationship?
Yeah, definitely. Like I just said, this sexual adventure, because we're still
Mhm.
discovering new things. I was actually on forums like creating videos and photos and creating content.
Mhm.
And this actually carried on with the torsos. When the torso arrived, it didn't take me long to like start recording myself making my own pornography when I'm having sex with my dolls. I actually watch my own porn. Which I find massively erotic. It like feeds
Occurring,
loop
yeah,
of
yeah.
sexual energy in my head. That's my justification for doing what I do, just to get that out of the way to begin with. My wife didn't know that I was making videos and publishing them on Reddit and stuff because I didn't
Mhm.
really want to tell her because I thought it'd be embarrassing. But there was one day when I
Mhm.
was having a shower and I left my mobile phone out on the
Mhm.
top, and she came in and got my phone. And I'm like, oh shit, I didn't log out of my Reddit. She found it, and I thought I'm in so much deep shit, but no, she was just like looking through all the
Mhm.
commenting on how things could be better. Like this angle's terrible. Within like a few weeks, she was actually
Mhm.
camera woman for like I'd received a new doll and I had to create content for it, which was great because I usually struggle with angles and lighting. It's really
Mhm.
not easy if you
Yeah.
want to create really good content, especially if you have like an amateur setup. She
Mhm.
actually helps out sometimes with the content creation. She goes to the gym a lot, and
Mhm.
like my wife has a great body. And
Mhm.
one day when like I wanted to have sex and she wasn't quite in the mood, I just started
Mhm.
taking photos of her and I started getting her to pose because I know she likes photos and I know she likes social media engagement. And I got her to dress up and started taking photos, and they were really quite good, some of them. So I said, "Yeah, come on,
Mhm.
let's get these on Reddit." Her face wasn't on there,
Mhm.
complete privacy locked in. And yeah, they start getting like hundreds of upvotes, and she liked that. And when we have a Friday available, that's usually our day where we can go out somewhere for a
Mhm.
coffee or go shopping or stay in and have sex, right? I'll suggest to her, "Oh, why don't we have like a photo shoot day?" And yeah, she gets into it, and it's nice. It's a really sexy afternoon, and it's always memorable.
I'm glad your wife's so open-minded and
I think a lot of it comes down to like upbringing and conservative mindsets and attitudes. A lot of people may see it as being adultery, and it's a whole melting pot
mhm.
of stigma and stereotype. I get nasty messages on Reddit from people saying like, you've
Mhm.
got a really hot wife, and then you're wasting your time with them sex dolls. Like, what's wrong with you? It's like nothing wrong with me, man. I just want to squeeze them. That's why I have these dolls. Literally, that is yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. I think you're just making contents just most importantly for yourself and also at the same time for your audience.
Exactly, right from the very core of my passion. It is like 98% for me why I'm creating content and publicizing it. Like I say, I just like to watch it back. And if other people also want to watch that back, then okay, fair play. And leave
Mhm.
leave nice comments. They can leave nasty comments. I don't care. I've been online for 27 years. I've heard everything. People are concerned that they themselves are addicted to porn and then they will completely abstain from it
Mhm.
entirely. I'm not really at that level. I'm not harming anybody else. I'm not even
Right.
viewing any other porn, so I'm not adding to those view counts. If there are people being exploited in that field, which I'm sure happens and I'm sure goes on all the time.
Yeah, that's very nice. Like I heard you're a huge fan of big boobs, and as you might like try different brands of either just boob products or just sex toys, because they are made from like different materials. Is
Yes.
there any specific one that you are very into of, and like any thoughts on just of the squishy experiences?
So yeah, I've been using competitor dolls, and I've only just had Aubrey from Erovenus. They're all massively different. Like with the material, with your competitors, nice big squishy anime style boobies, right? But then when Aubrey turned up, and by the way, the unboxing experience was absolutely breathtaking because those are the biggest boobies so far that I've had my hands on. Oh my god! You guys go after the realism aspect. So these were not anime boobies by any means. These were more
Mm-hmm.
like big fat mill. realistic boobies. I don't want to say it's strange or weird, but it was very novel when I first squeezed into them. Like your composition, your blend actually feels
Mhm.
more like human fat. It feels like human when you're squashing that fat, and it feels more realistic. Like the
Mhm.
Erovenus, it's like, no, this is like a photograph of like a big boob porn star, like maybe like Kiana Dior.
Mhm.
What like it took me about 2 or 3 sessions to actually have a successful sex session with her because it was so different to what I was using before, right?
Yeah.
Rather than this fantasy cartoon mindset where I could imagine myself being in one of these mangas
Uh-huh.
or an SFM animation. This is like a real person, and that's what she feels like. I think that material, that blend, and even not just the boobs, but the skin as well, like the skin
Mhm.
sensation when you just like press the skin. It's so realistic. You can see like little veins, and I think for
Mhm.
anyone listening to this that doesn't have a single sex doll yet, if you're going to pick one, then you get one and you're happy with it.
Mhm. Yeah, you know what? Like, I actually have one love book right on my desktop, because it's in the office, and it would be so weird if you just squish it in front of like all these people. But by your description, I just can't help squishing it, and
Yeah,
it feels so good. Oh my god! Even though I'm a female, like I feel like it is so good, and I am a office pervert right now. I
yeah,
don't care. Yeah, it feels so good.
yeah. If I didn't have kids, I would have like shelves here with them out in the open. So I've got to be really very careful with how I store these things
Yeah.
and leaving them out.
Yeah, that's such a good demonstration of like how people who use sex dolls could be in a stable relationship in like of a family and be so responsible for their kids, and I really appreciate your lifestyles.
One thing that is the most important is just yeah, keeping the kids away from this. I don't care, even if my family and friends back home discover I'm a content creator in this field.
Hmm.
I also had a number of reasons as to why I got into the sex doll hobby as well. It wasn't just that I like big boobs and I wanted to squeeze big boobs. Even though my wife is very open minded, she's not
Hmm.
exactly the most sexually active. She's always tired. Sometimes we can only have sex like once a month, sometimes once every 2 months, and that's the same with a lot of couples. I've got this sexual energy, and I've got a hot wife that walks around in tight yoga wear,
Hmm.
and I'm sat here and I can't have sex with her, and it's just so frustrating, right? That's one of the factors that pushed me to get a sex doll torso. It might be a lifeless doll. When I'm on my sofa bed over there, it's like you try in different positions, like she's on top and you're bouncing on top.
Hmm.
You're getting the workout, like it's getting tiring. Yeah, there's a reward there, right? Because when you're having sex with one of these dolls, it's a workout. You're sweating, you're out of breath, and then when you orgasm in that state, it is oh my god, it is 10 to 15 times more powerful than a regular
Hmm.
bare hand orgasm.
Yeah.
It went from masturbating 3 4 times a day to having sex with the doll twice a week, and
Hmm.
and it's just so much more sexually satisfying.
Yeah,
Um,
and there's no pregnancy.
yeah, there's no pregnancy, there's no STDs. When my wife does get sexy, when we're doing foreplay and stuff, she'll
Hmm.
mention things like, "Oh, what if I let you have sex with another woman?" You know what? And I'm like, "Yeah, that's really nice, but don't talk about that if you're not going to let me do it." So I think about that. Okay, what if we did get like an escort or a call girl to come around, and it's like it's
Hmm.
expensive, and that's another thing about my wife. She doesn't care about like the adultery or the cheating so much. It's how much stuff costs. She would rather have the money in the bank and feeling secure.
Yeah, because
Sex is important in a marriage, not just in a relationship, but extra important in a marriage. There has to be an
yeah,
intimacy there, at the very least once a week. And this actually correlates with some of the nasty messages I've been getting on Reddit and stuff. You're saying, oh, you got a hot wife and you're wasting your time on them dolls. What are you doing?
of their
Oh, yeah,
business.
they've got a
Hmm.
point. They do have a point.
Yeah.
So it's still there, and it's still something we have to, again, it's another bridge that we have to cross.
Yeah. I think you should like probably if you are just having this in your head, you should probably go to your wife and listen what she thinks of it instead of like what people online actually
Oh, of
thinks of it.
course.
Like, as like the technology just advances, there are like AI stuff popping up, and there are like people thinking about maybe we should implant AI in sex torsos, maybe we should not because
Mm.
it comes with different issues. What's your thoughts on like having AI in sex dolls in the future?
Yeah, I think there's actually a Megan Fox movie. Megan Fox is hot, right? But she's like a
Mhm.
housemaid who comes in
Mhm.
to take over the household, right? She starts to have sex with a guy because, of course,
Mhm.
if you have a robot that comes to your house like
Mhm.
Megan Fox, it's going to me personally that having sex with her is probably one of the first things I would do, right? It's like straight
Uh-huh.
out of the box. It's like, this is not a cleaning robot, right? We can get another one for the cleaning. We'll get another one. We'll have two of them, right? When I look at a torso, it is an object for me to have sex
Mhm.
with, and that is it. And
Yeah.
this is why I've never been kind of invested in a full size sex doll. Not only do you have to maintain the head and the hair and the face and the
Mhm.
feet and the hands, there's the maintenance. If I have a time machine and I could bring one back from the year
Mhm.
2400, it'd be fascinating and exciting. But
Yeah.
yeah, it's scary to think about. You've got something walking around and
Yeah,
like an entity.
especially you.
It would take multi-generational conditioning, right, for us to
Mhm,
get
right.
to that point where we can confidently say, "Yeah, having a sex doll walking around the bedroom."
Thank you for your time, and you really like shared a lot. I think both the audience and us as manufacturer, we both like have like more like deeper insights or different perspectives about like what actually is going on for either players or just designer wise.
Maybe in the future, sometime we'll do a big discussion where we have maybe 3 or 4 of us on the call at once. That'd be nice.
Mhm.
Then we can
Yeah,
discuss
that
and
would be
debate.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Right. And for anyone is watching this video later on, please comment happy birthday to today is his birthday, and
Thank you.
we really appreciate it.